Honorable colleagues, I rise today to speak at third reading of Bill C-5, Part 2, which aims to build the Canada of tomorrow. I commend Senator Youssef's leadership. He helped us a great deal with briefings and information by his very moving speeches and very enlightening and enriching speeches. This bill is ambitious. It aims to accelerate projects of national interest, facilitate interprovincial trade, and strengthen our economic cohesion. I support this bill because I believe it was time for a country as vast, as complex, and as rich in its differences to equip itself with the tools that match its aspirations. But if we want to build quickly, we must above all build fairly in order to ensure the prosperity of all Canadians. And that is why I want to remind you that this great drive for economic development must also be a time for economic justice, because in the way contracts are awarded, suppliers selected, and construction sites rolled out, we have a responsibility to promote not only efficiency, but also fairness. Part 2, paragraph 19 of Bill C-5 provides that certain projects of national interest will be exempted from several stages of the environmental impact assessment. This is intended to speed up their implementation, but this acceleration must not be done at the expense of consultation. Things that we've all heard about here. It must not be done with a lack of transparency or inclusion. If deadlines are reduced, we need to be doubly vigilant about who benefits from these projects and how they are carried out. A number of our colleagues have already spoken about the challenges that Indigenous peoples are facing. They absolutely must be consulted, listened to, and included in these major projects. And I have listened to colleagues speak about this. Now, for my part, I'm going to concentrate on Black entrepreneurs. And I will also seize the opportunity to highlight the study I had the honor of co-leading here in the Senate in the summer of 2023 with our colleague, Senator Colin Deacon.
Gratitude to Senator Deacon for his leadership and his thoughtfulness. Le sénateur Deacon est l'un des rares.
Senator Deacon is one of the few who recognize, and this because he's had the experience of it, he knows that white privilege exists in Canadian business. And that this privilege, if not actively deconstructed, perpetuates exclusion and undermines the economic prosperity of Black entrepreneurs. Our report, which I urge all of my colleagues to read or to reread, clearly demonstrates that having a good business plan is not enough to succeed. Entrepreneurs from diverse backgrounds, and in particular Black women, have to overcome multiple systemic barriers that are often invisible but very real. I have experienced these myself over my 25 years in business here in Canada before being appointed to the Senate. The most recent data are unequivocal. The Black population, or those of African origin, exceeds 1.5 million people, which corresponds to 4.3% of the total Canadian population. 76% of Black people in Canada express a strong interest in entrepreneurship, a rate higher than the national average, according to Diversity Institute 2024. Many reasons explain this fact, such as the lack of jobs, the need for financial autonomy, and to create multi-generational wealth. And yet, only 1.3% of Black adults are currently entrepreneurs, compared with 2.3% of the general population, according to Statistics Canada 2024. Of these, 0.7% are Black women, one of the most underrepresented groups in entrepreneurship across Canada. "53% are immigrants, and 32% are the children of immigrants, according to Statistics Canada 2024. "83% of Black entrepreneurs self-finance their businesses. 2.4% of the population. 83% of these entrepreneurs self-finance their businesses. And this due to a lack of access to credit, according to the Canada Development Bank and the Diversity Institute 2024, and yet 81% of them say that they are optimistic about the future of their businesses. Here again, according to the Development Bank of Canada. These figures are not anecdotal. They reflect a system that all too often reproduces inequalities rather than correcting them. Our report proposes concrete solutions. We propose strengthening collaboration between stakeholders, making sustained investments in Black entrepreneurship, in Black entrepreneurship initiatives, collecting disaggregated data, and fully assuming the catalytic role of the state.
This emphasizes a fundamental point. Equity is not favor. It must be grounded in competence and results. It is a responsibility, a societal responsibility for businesses, which must integrate inclusion not only as a criterion for contract awarding, but also as a measure of performance. C'est une responsabilité du gouvernement.
This is a responsibility of government. Government must assess developers, consortiums, major corporations, not only on their ability to deliver, but also on their ability to include all businesses. For me, social affairs and development go hand in hand. One cannot prosper without the other. Economic inclusion is a tool for growth, cohesion, and justice. Building the Canada of tomorrow is not just about infrastructure. It's about building a country where every entrepreneur, every community can contribute fully to our collective prosperity. Integrating intersectionality must be a central pillar of the assessment of major projects in order to fully reflect the complexity of the lived experience of all concerned communities. Honourable colleagues, I will be voting in favour of Bill C-5, but my support is hinged on a resolute commitment to ensure that social responsibility in terms of equity, inclusion, and economic justice, these should become indispensable standards in the accomplishment of all projects of national interest. We need to ensure that businesses owned by Black people all across the country are not only considered but fully equipped and integrated into value chains for these major projects. This is how we will guarantee a truly shared prosperity and sustainable growth and a Canada that reflects all of its communities. Thank you.